Okay, let's thread some needles. So my kits require 6 strands of floss. This time we're just going to put all 6 strands on the needle. They come in 6 strand pieces. And we just pinch it. I pinch it and just pinch it onto the needle. Make sure you cut it in a fresh cut at the end there. If you're going to do this, you have to hold the tail because you can't double your thread. So you're going to put your knot at the bottom of one side of your thread, and then you're going to have a tail at the top, or some thread hanging off the top near the needle. And as you're pulling it through, you have to hold it and make sure that that doesn't come off of the needle. So many people like to do what's called splitting their thread, which means we're going to turn the 6 strands of floss into 3 strands by splitting them in half, and then we'll double them and turn them back into 6 strands. So let me show you how that's done. So here's your 6 strands. We're going to separate the strands into 2 sides, 3 and 3. And then we're going to slowly start to pull them apart. Now, as you start to pull them apart, you definitely don't want them to get tangled, which is very easily done. So what you want to do is just slowly let it unwind and kind of hang. You can see my thread here unwinding and turning. The threads come somewhat wound up together. And so you just want to be pretty slow. Now, if you have that type of situation happen, you've got to undo that before you start pulling on it. So I usually put them together and kind of pull the wind out a little bit. And then you slowly keep unwinding it until you get the end of your thread. And you will end up with 2 pieces of thread that have 3 strands each. So let's let that unwind. And you can see how slowly I'm pulling this apart. And that's so that I don't get my thread tangled, because this can turn into a knot really easily. So here's our 2 pieces. And we're going to take one of those pieces and put that on a needle. 1, 2. There you go. So let's pick up one of those pieces and stick it on a needle. So this time we're going to use a needle threader. This needle threader is great. It's not wire. It's actually an all metal needle threader. And what you do is you take your needle threader and you stick the end into the eye of the needle like this. And then you're going to stick the end of your thread into the little hole at the end of the part that you stuck in the eye of the needle. And you're going to let it hang out just a little bit. And then you're going to hold your needle and pull the needle threader out. And what will happen is the thread will come with it. And there you go. You have your needle threaded. So now we're going to take both our ends of our 3 pieces of floss and we're going to match them. And this is so we can double our floss so that we'll have 6 strands on our needle. So we're going to match the ends just like that. And then we're going to pull our needle into the middle of the string. So you have ends on one side and needle on the other side. So let's put a knot on the end of this. One way to make a knot is to just wind it around your finger in a circle and cross over to the top with your wind, and then take it off your finger and then cross over the top and through the circle and back out, and you have a knot. That's a very simple knot. There's another knot that I really like that guarantees a great knot, and it's called a quilter's knot. And let me show that to you here. So what you do is you take your needle and your thread end and you point them at each other in a circle, and then you grab the end of your thread with your needle hand and you keep holding on to that thread, and then you wind it around 2 or 3 times just like this. Now you want to hold on to that wind so it doesn't unwind. So I usually hold it, see it unwinds if you let it go. So I usually grab it with my needle hand somehow. And you want to hold that wind and push your needle up and hold that wind all the way to the end of the thread. And what's going to happen is that little wind is going to turn into a beautiful little knot that's perfect to start your project with. And there it is. So now we have two different ways of threading our needle. We have the single thread version and we have a double thread version. Some of my projects require only 4 strands or 2 strands. So you want to take whatever strand and double it. So if you want 4 strands, you take 2 and on and on. Please enjoy this video and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials.